I should say before I get too far into this, I'm not really an Apple fanboy, although it may sound like I am. I do use Linux as my daily driver. I've tried Mac OS, I can't deal with it. I do have an iPhone. I started on the iPhone about 2 or 3 years ago, whenever it was that the newer version of Android came out. I think it was 12 or 13, I can't remember. And there was too much stuff in it. It was getting too complicated for me. I'm older and it was confusing me. So I tried an iPhone and it was okay. And I've just kind of used iPhones since then. I do have an Apple Watch, which was a gift for my daughter and my son-in-law. And I do have an iPad, which was my wife's old iPad. It's a really old iPad Air. I think the first or second one. I don't remember. So I do have Apple equipment. Anyway, Apple did a thing, and they had their worldwide developer conference where they announced, among other things, Apple Intelligence. Something that was somewhat clever branding, taking AI and making it, Apple Intelligence, owning it, in effect. And they've done pretty much what they've done before. I had made a video some months ago about whether Apple had missed the boat with AI, and at that point it kind of looked like they had, but it seems that they have been working in the background as they are wont to do and came up with a solution, a sort of a package of this Apple Intelligence that looks like it might be actually, I hesitate to say, if we're going to have AI, I guess this may be a good way to do it, or at least a useful way to do it, where they've basically integrated AI across their product line pretty much, starting with a new version of Siri, which was long overdue. Siri is pretty much useless anymore. I mean, when it came out at first, it was, pretty remarkable. But that was a long time ago, and it really hasn't improved since then. This version of Siri supposedly interacts at a very low level with iOS, Mac OS, the Watch OS, all the different products in the Apple line, pretty much. The approach that Apple appears to have made this time is something that's in the past been called Sherlocking, where basically the idea is that they take ideas from other companies, put them together, and then incorporate them into their own products. I don't want to say it's sneaky because other people do that too. I mean, Android basically did that with iOS. They took a similar approach to iOS in their Android operating system. But the one thing I did notice about the new Apple stuff is that it is going to require, for the full implementation of the Apple Intelligence paradigm, you're going to need new hardware. But wait, I hear somebody say, hasn't Apple been bragging on their neural networks and AI hardware for years now? Yes, they have. And they are using it. But they're using it for stuff like video and photography, the processing of that, things like voice recognition, that kind of stuff. So it is there, and it's being used, but it's not in the same class as the stuff they're going to have to use for the new Apple Intelligence products. It's going to be, for the iPhone, it's going to be at least an iPhone 15 Pro. And then for the laptop side of things, it's going to be any of the M series chips, M1, M2, M3, M4, etc. So it doesn't look like it's going to be working on the old Intel stuff. My iPhone 13 Pro is not going to work with the new Siri, as far as I can tell. I think there'll be some functionality will be improved in the new Siri, but not the integration. Even if I get iOS 18, which is the new version of iOS that's going to start showing the new Siri stuff, I don't believe it's going to be the full implementation of it. So that's a little disappointing. I'm in no rush to buy another iPhone. I buy them used anyway, so it's going to be a while. I've never bought a new iPhone, so it's going to be a while before I can afford to buy a used one that would run the new stuff. So one thing Apple is harping on with the new Apple Intelligence stuff is privacy. The Siri, and I have links below. You can read, if you need to read more detail about this, I have plenty of links below in the video description. But with Siri in particular, general queries will be handled locally on device, which is why they need the newer hardware to run it. More specific queries will require using a private cloud that Apple is coming up with that supposedly is going to be audited by third parties for privacy. And in the last resort, very specialized queries or very wide-ranging queries, it will be sent to ChatGPT with your permission. You have to allow it to send. It'll ask you, and then you can send it on to ChatGPT if you want to. Supposedly, this stuff is anonymized to avoid, personal details getting pushed out. So they are at least trying. They're making a show of trying. Whether this will all work as build, whether it'll work in a way that people want, it sounds useful, but in the same way that Microsoft's recall sounded useful, but then when you kind of dug into it, it was like, that's not a great way to do that. In fact, Microsoft has just put a pause on implementing recall at all. So Apple brought us Apple Intelligence. They branded it as such. It's supposed to prioritize user privacy, personalization, tight ecosystem integration, and really focusing AI capabilities in a way to help you get more stuff done more easily. That's the goal. Of course, the byproduct is it gets you locked into the Apple ecosystem even more, which is, what they want. And you also probably have to buy, if in my case, if you have an older phone, you need to buy a new phone, so to get the full benefit of it. I honestly, looking at it objectively as far as I can, I think they did as good a job as they probably could have of at least presenting this. I don't know if the actual real world application and use of this will be as smooth and promising as they hope, but I guess we're going to have AI shoved down our throat anyway from everybody. So this is sounding like one of the more considered approaches to AI that I've seen so far. So we'll see. I hope, I hope it works. It'd be nice to have AI working at a level where it's actually useful and not getting in your way and not just, being shiny. So what do you guys think about all this AI stuff? Are you sick of hearing about it? Are you excited? Are you alarmed? I'm kind of on the fence. It's such early days yet. It's kind of come on us so quickly. It's really hard to see what the future will hold. Anyway, as I said, I have plenty of links below for more details. This is just my kind of take on all this. And hopefully we'll see you again in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.